All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you have been waiting for, I promise you, this is going to be the best hour and a half of your life till this date. Now, hold on, because I know 2020 has been very crazy for many people, but we have literally three living legends that are on here on this call tonight. Literally apartment complex syndications, buying multifamily properties that are cash flowing like crazy. And last but not least, killing it, absolutely destroying the markets as a real estate agent in today's markets. The questions that I'm sure you have is how can you get into the business? What are some of the best strategies? What do we need to prepare ourselves for? I promise you, make sure you are tuned in because tonight's event is going to be absolutely insane. I'm beyond excited. My name's Elijah Barber. This is the New Jersey Real Estate Investors Association. We have my co-host in the building tonight, Radiant Sean. We say, what's up, Sean?
What's up, guys? Elijah, thank you for having me on. I'm super excited. I'm going to bring my radiantness. And really, when you guys, when you label them as killers, I'm always like, oh, man, they got to be beasts. They probably big, angry guys just going out there killing it. And really, I'm experiencing that killers in real estate are like the most humble, loving guys and women that you can ever find around. If they're killing it, I realize that they're really delivering some type of service and value to the market that puts them up there in that 1%, 2%, 3% range. And I'm really like, they're not as scary. I think a lot of people in the audience should realize that they should come with questions ready to ask and get answers, because this is why we're here, right? So I'm really excited. Thank you for letting me co-host. And guys, let's get into this, please.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go for about another 30, 60 seconds here before we get started. By the way, we have so many people tuning in right now. We literally have over 40 people that have joined us, and we just clicked the go live button. So with all the people who are joining in, we're going to make this very special, very important for you. Okay. I want you guys to go ahead and put in the comment section in the chat box right now. All right. Very important question. I want you to let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay. What city you're watching from, what little town, neighborhood. Okay. If you're from the New York, let me know what borough you're watching from. Put it in the comment section right now. Let me know where you're tuning in from. We're going to use this comment section as our area to communicate with each other. Wow, look at Elijah. Welcome back. I had a massive ear infection over the past 2 nights, but we are healed, baby. We heal quickly. All right, we got a lot of people tuning in. Guys, by the way, if you're fired up for this event, make sure you hit the like and share button. Send this to all your friends, all your family. Let them know what you're working on right now. Put the message out there that you're educating yourself. You're taking the necessary steps to secure the bag for you and your family, baby. All right, here we go. We got Arthur tuning in from my wow. What's up, Arthur? Pleasure. We got someone from the South Jersey area. AA, shout out South Jersey. Anita, Essex County, shout out. Let's go. Jason joining us from Brooklyn. Jason, so excited for you, man. West Orange in the building. Allendale, man. There's so many people tuning in right now, guys. We're blowing away with the party tonight. It's going to be a show. I'm so excited. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So more importantly than anything, this topic tonight is one of my favorite topics because we have 3 different speakers here who all specialize in very different things. And not only do they specialize, but these guys have so much experience. And they're taking time out of their day to share with us so we can learn. So it's time for us to adopt the student mentality, okay? Time for us to pay attention. Make sure you have paper and pen. Make sure you're taking notes. And then once we have these notes, the very next question is, how do we execute, right? How do we execute so we can get the results for our family, for our friends, and to possibly do business with these guys on the call? They're on here to teach you what they do and how they do it in hopes that maybe someday you can bring them some business and vice versa. Okay, we're all here to provide services and value. So with that being said, make sure we're using the comment section. Okay, if you guys have questions throughout the event, put it in the comment chat. We will pull those up for you and get those answered. We're going to spend we're going to be on here for an hour and a half, so we're not doing it that way. We're going to be on here for an hour and a half with these guys, so let's get rolling. All right, up first, let's do quick little intros here. I would like to start off with Michael. Which Michael? Michael Learman, baby, over here, right. Michael Learman.
So, Jay Learman, gotta love it. Hi, everybody.
So,
yeah.
We got Michael Learman, we got Michael Gomez, and we got David Hansel. We're going to do a quick little intro with my man, Michael Learman. Michael, this is one of our first in-depth conversations. I'm so excited and so blessed to have you. We just spent a few minutes talking with you, man, and I'm just so excited to be here because of the information that you have, but more importantly, your willingness to share. So, Michael, please just give my audience a little 60-second introduction on who you are and what you're all about.
Sure. Well, make it simple. We can call me Michael J. That's what most people call me.
All right, let's do it.
And it helps Mr. Gomez there. So, guys, again, thanks for letting me come on. It's certainly an honor and a privilege. I've watched you guys many, many times. Amazing, amazing. Myself, guys, hey, I'm from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I've been a real estate investor for about 25 years. This is all I do is real estate investing. I have a portfolio of about 50 multifamily properties that I self-manage. I have another 20 that I have with a group that we work together with. So I just enjoy real estate. It's a passion of mine. I also love helping and coaching people in the real estate business. I do it for free. I don't charge a penny. So feel free to reach out to me. I don't believe in charging. I like to give back to the community, especially in the real estate. So again, Michael J, Cherry Hill. I'm looking forward to tonight and working with everybody.
Woo! Thank you so much for that, Michael J. All right, let's go down to my man, David Hansel. As you guys can see, rent is due. Rent is due, and ideas are worth nothing. David, I'm so excited to have you, man. Pleasure to be here.
Thank
David, you're a businessman. I know you all about the business, so tell us about you, brother.
First off, thank you very much, Elijah. Always love being around you and your energy. And Nick, who always puts these things together, has given back so much to the community, has really helped and made a lot of people a lot of money just by the knowledge and bringing folks like us together and other people in our network. So about myself, I've been in the real estate industry since 2001. I got started in the brokerage business and doing fix and flip in the early 2000s. And then in 07, co-founded and owned and launched Alpha Funding Solutions, private hard money lending company. We still, that company is still thriving today. I had, in the last year, stepped down to really focus energy on growing Lucerne Capital Partners, which is our real estate private equity group. My team at Alpha's still doing an amazing job in keeping that going. But we own and manage multifamily apartment buildings up and down the East Coast with a heavy concentration in Philly and Charlotte and both the Carolinas. And we look for unique and value-add opportunities that can be sometimes complicated or difficult to finance for others, but through our connections and years in the business, we've been able to do that. And along the way, we've created vehicles for other folks to invest passively with us into those. So had a really interesting career and have touched a lot of different parts of the industry.
David, we're excited to have you, man. We're going to be diving in deep, especially with all the recent business moves that you've been making. I got a lot of questions for you, brother. Let's do it. All right. Up next, this is literally I promise you, when I say the most humorous / most serious / most awesome dude you've ever met in the real estate agent and investor space, this is him. All right. This is him. Michael Gomez literally has been value to me. He's introduced me to so many super awesome strategies just from providing value on these calls. Michael, how you feeling today, brother? Tell us all about you, man.
I feel great. First and foremost, thank you. And thanks to Nick for giving me this platform. And a big shout out to everybody that's on the call for taking time away from their family to be on here. And I always appreciate you guys, giving us, this platform for us to be able to voice or have a voice. So for those who don't know me, my name is Michael Gomes. I'm a full-time real estate agent and also now the Chief Operating Officer of Signature Realty NJ. We are based out of Union County, New Jersey. I'm excited to say that now because it's my new leadership role in the company, and that's been since September. So a little bit about myself, 39 years old. I've been in the business since 17 years ago, believe it or not, when I was 22 years old. I started the business in the mortgage sector. I worked for small little companies. We were mom and pop shops, and I made my way up to companies like IndyMac Bank, Countrywide, Bank of America, ran branches for them, companies like CFSB, which is actually owned by the same two people who own the American Dream Mall in Secaucus, New Jersey. Started flipping homes in 2007 and 8. Probably the wrong time to do so. I did.
Right.
Yeah, I had my real estate license in 06 when the market crashed in 2007 and 8. I decided that I was going to transition from mortgages to real estate full time. I was flipping property, so I said, you know what? Why not practice real estate as well since I held my license? Fast forward to today, I'm now at Signature Realty for the past 4 years. Amazing culture. So for those who are looking for a real estate brokerage, we're a perfect fit, not only for new agents, but also for seasoned agents out there. Great culture, great training, great support. We have two very fantastic leaders in Michelle and John Steingraber. And I'm like David and Michael here. I just heard Michael say that he teaches for free, which is amazing. And that's kind of what we do too. We convey what we learn back for free because we genuinely care about people. We want people to learn. We want people not to make the same mistakes we made 10, 15 years ago, right? And, I feel like with the markets right now, it's kind of uncertain what's going to happen in the near future. It's important to absorb as much information as possible, learn from guys like David, Michael, from Elijah, Nick, and Sean, not to make the same mistakes that we made, when the market crashed back in 07 and 08, right? So, there's a lot of knowledge on this call right now, so take it to your advantage. And if you guys ever want to give me a call, you're more than free to do so. I'll give you my information after this event.
By the way, I've already seen a few people comment and they're like, what's this guy's number? What's this guy's contact? At the very end, we're going to be posting up their contact information. You guys are all going to get it. So make sure you guys stay on till the end. This way you can have their direct contact info so you can get in touch with them. Okay. All right. So let's transition here, gentlemen. I'm going to ask this question openly. I'll direct it towards who, but we're all going to answer it. All right. So Michael J. I hear you talk about, you're buying these cash flow properties. You literally just got done telling me about all these deals that you're structuring recently. Can you kind of talk a little bit kind of about what you were doing like prior up until this point? And then I have a follow-up question once we get to that.
Yeah. So, listen, guys, I have a great network and you have to build a network to get good deals. You can't just go out there and expect a deal. So, build your network. Go ahead and network with folks that are on this call today, folks that are watching. Go ahead and build relationships with other realtors, build relationship with other investors. That's where the deals are. Most of my deals are really off market. I hear from other investors, even some wholesalers. There's some amazing wholesalers, but guys, you got to kind of vet out the wholesaler. You can't just get a wholesaler and expect it. Vet it out and then do your own homework to make sure the deals make sense. But for me, I've been fortunate, I have a lot of great network, whether it's a wholesaler, whether it's a realtor. And I have a lot of realtors send me deals even before they put them on the MLS. But again, guys, you got to train these folks. I let the realtors know what my parameters are, what I'm buying, what my model is, and then they only send me deals that they know fit in it. And that really is excellent because then I don't have to worry about weeding out 1,000 deals. And the realtors know not to send me deals unless it fits my parameters. So that's, one of the keys, I think. Build that network, build those relationships. That's where it's going to come in. And one final thought, build relationships with township officials. I'm really friendly with the mayor in the towns I have investment properties and even other ones, even the code enforcers. You'd be surprised how the code enforcers, the zone enforcers know what's going on and who's selling. And it's nice when they say, hey, Michael J., you might want to give so-and-so a call because I know he's going to be selling it. So that's where you build and that's how you form a great, relationship to start building your own portfolio.
Man,
Michael, you said something that intrigued me a lot because I wholesale. My main business right now, I took a step back from buying and holding and just decided to master wholesaling. I figured if I could buy low and sell high, eventually when I drift back into buy and hold, which essentially I love, it should be rather easy, right? If I'm buying my own deals. But you said that you vet wholesalers. What are some questions that is there a primary set of questions that you just run through in your head? What are some things that, wholesalers should look out for if they want to work with you?
Yeah, essentially, you first want to get to know the wholesaler, right? Are they a wholesaler? Because unfortunately, there's a lot of amazing people out there, and there's some people that just want to do a deal. And, I don't want the person that just wants to do a deal. I want someone that, takes pride in their wholesale deals, that, does their own homework. What's the assessed value? What's the ARV value? They got to have the facts. They got to know it. And they got to have a good track record. I'll a lot of times ask the wholesalers, could you give me 3 of your last folks that you sold houses to? And I like to call them and just get a reference from them and kind of get their feeling at how, you worked. Are you good to, how's your communication? Are you communicating? Are they communicating to the folks that they're wholesaling? Because a lot of times they'll say, hey, he has a contract and you deal with, the person. And, there's a lot of things. So you got to dig in, and we don't have enough time to go into every little detail, but I would definitely recommend, you vet and feel free to reach out to me and I can get into more particulars of vetting out. But essentially it's checking their references, checking their prior deals, ask them to give you the last 3 deals besides the references that they did, and look at the numbers. Do the numbers make sense, or did they just try to flip you a deal that, is a dog? So those are some of the key elements. And then talk to other investors about them, because most wholesalers don't just have one person. They have a whole group of investors. And you'd be surprised when you start asking around, you'll really get I hate to use the word, but the skinny, right? Or the information on that wholesaler to really make sure, that they treat this like a business, not a hobby. And that's important.
No, I really like that you come across that you want long term. And I always like to go into situations with my buyer where, I will always issue my, my asking price, but essentially I tell them, hey, right now I am employed by you. How can I make this work for you? And, I think that was a really good point that you made, that I always vet my buyers, but I actually never heard of a buyer vetting the wholesaler. And I just really intrigued by that a lot, like what questions do you run through so I can have it answered beforehand,
Nice.
Well, it's very interesting because even for you guys who are out there buying, you have to understand when Michael vets the wholesaler, it actually now puts him in a position of someone who knows what they're doing and is very serious. And so me as a wholesaler, if someone's vetting me, I'm like, okay, this guy, he's probably more serious than anyone else. So if he gives me an offer, the likelihood of him closing is probably much higher as well. And keep in mind, Michael is speaking from the experience of a guy who buys a lot of cash flow properties, even in today's market. Mm-hmm. So he's giving you guys exactly what he does. So I think that's great. So Michael, tell us, what have the past 6 months been like for you? Ever since COVID hit, how is business? How has business changed? What's business like as of right now, especially from the past 6 months up to this date?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, business has been outstanding. For an investor, it's been outstanding. Everybody knows the hard money dried up in the beginning. A lot of them weren't investing. So, what do? Well, you either use your own money if you have it. If you don't have it, then you got to be creative, right? You got to look for investors. So I was lucky enough to A, use my own money, and B, look for some investors. I love hard money. Nothing wrong with that, as long as it's a good deal and makes sense. But I've been fortunate. I have found some really good deals in the last 6 months. I probably did at least 10 deals in the last 6 months that are all, I'm real happy with them. One example I was telling the guys earlier is I bought a duplex in Pennsville, paid $100,000 in cash, had to put maybe $2,000 in, and really I didn't have to, but I did. I painted it just to clean it up, touched it up a little bit, and then I did a BRRRR strategy. It refied for $210,000. So that's a no-brainer, right? And it's still cash flowing at least $1,100 after the refi. So deals like that, they're out there. You just got to find them, and you do them. They really are. I bought another deal that I'm closing on it in 2 weeks from now. It's in Woodbury, New Jersey, just to give you a little more detail there. I was telling the guys earlier that I'm paying $162,000. It's a duplex. I probably got to put about $5,000 in there. But again, it just refi. It didn't refi yet. I had it appraised even before I bought it for $265,000. So I didn't even buy it yet. I'm paying $162,500 cash, right? Oh, I could have used hard money. Again, guys, you don't need cash to buy real estate. You can use hard money, right? You can use investments. There's a lot of different strategies to use that. But I already had it appraised. So when I do buy it and I actually refi it, it's, again, a no-brainer. So deals like that, guys, for me, I've been fortunate. And I surround myself with a lot of amazing people, guys. And that's the key. They always say, you're an element of the 6 people you surround yourself with. So surround yourself with a lot of people that are either in the business, get some knowledge, do some education, read some books, make sure you're really good, and keep on going, guys. And that's what it's about. But I've been fortunate. The last 6 months, I've been very, very happy with the 10 deals I did.
Amazing.
So, Michael, you talk about financing these with cash. Is this money that you've like saved up over the years? Is this money that you're raising, putting together? Like, how are you putting the finances together to buy these great deals that you're coming across?
Yeah, so it's a combination. You know, I do some different things on the side to generate some extra cash flow. A company called Connect, and essentially what I do on the side is I help investors, tenants take a discount on their life essential services, and it pays me a residual income. So by doing that, I get a nice cash flow coming in every month, and I'm using that to now buy more real estate. But also when I buy the real estate, when I'm doing the refis, I usually can be, able to take out $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. That accumulates. So some people do flips and they accumulate that way. I'm not a big flipper. I have done it before, but I would rather buy it, go ahead, refinance it, get that same money out in the flip. But the only difference is I keep the property. And now I have that property forever. I'm building more equity and I'm building wealth. So I'm kind of combining the element of flipping and buy and holds together. And that's been a great formula for me to continue to grow, along with my Connect business that I get a nice residual from, really helping people take a discount on their life essential services. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Awesome.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that a lot. Especially with the nice cash flow numbers.
Not to interrupt you, Elijah, but you said that this recent duplex that you bought, you got it appraised. I'm assuming you're using hard money, or do you just have an appraiser on tap to go in and?
Yeah, I mean, you can hire private appraisers. Now, when I refi, I'm going to have to get appraised again, but I like to get them appraised. You can buy a $200 appraisal, right? It's not,
right.
You could buy an inexpensive one. So I like to get my properties appraised ahead of time. Again, this is doing your due diligence. This is doing your homework. So for $200, I'll get it appraised. So I at least have a flavor of where it's going to land. And then when I do the refi, that lender will do their own appraisal, but I already know because I already have an appraisal, and I actually give my appraisal to the other appraisal that's doing it. And 10 times, it's usually always the same, so that's a little technique. And I think when I get mine, and if it's a great one, and I give it to the other appraisal, I'm not saying it sways him, but he looks at it and he sees, hey, appraised for 265. He's not going to appraise it for 210. I mean, it's already showing 2 months ago or a month ago, 265. So, for $200, you get yourself appraised, and it really helps you run your business. Because if I did that, guys, think about this, and it appraised for less than what I was buying it for, I would kill the deal, and it only really cost me $200. So it's a small amount of money to invest for a long-term return, in your business.
I
that
like
makes
that
a lot of sense. It's a security. It's really a security and protection for you as a buyer.
Correct.
And so for anyone who, go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna say, how impressed would you be if a wholesaler was like, "Hey, I did an appraisal for you." You know what I mean?
There are some wholesalers that do that. There are some wholesalers that do that. They get the property inspection, but I mean, your game's got to be intact for that. So that's great. All right. So Michael, the business over the past 6 months have been great. You've been buying a lot of properties. Let me ask you, has it been harder to find deals right now right now versus prior to COVID? What have you noticed?
No, for me at least, and I'll tell you why. Because I focus on relationships. I focus on, building a network. Those are the two words, relationships and networks. And because I do that, I have more deals coming to me than I can buy. Now, here's an interesting point. People don't realize you want to be friendly and build that relationship with other investors, because no matter who you are, even myself, I can only buy so many places. So if I have 2 or 3 deals going on right now, and I have another deal that I think is great, you can only buy so many. So what I'll do is, in my network of investors, I'll then say to them, hey, David, I have another property I love. I'm already buying 3 or 4 properties. Do you want to take a crack at it? Do you want to look at it? So I have a lot of other investors doing the same thing with me. When they find a couple of deals, they're then sending them to me if they can't buy them. And remember, guys, it's not like you're buying second deals, meaning that the investor says, nah, I don't want this. You build that relationship so if someone's giving me a deal, I know it's a good deal and they would have bought it, but they have either refis going on and they're a little shy on cash, or they have other deals going on and they just can't buy it right now, but they would have. Right. That's the kind of relationships and network you want. And if you have those two things, I'm telling you right now, you'll have an influx of it. And the same thing with realtors. I have tons of realtors that are coming to me all the time before it goes on the MLS. Don't tell Mike Gomes that. He might not like that. But before it goes on the MLS and say, Michael J., here's a deal, it fits your parameter. Do you want to look at this before we list it? And yeah, I mean, I do a lot of that. So I've been fortunate to have a lot of deals coming my way. I'm not really going out of my way to look for deals. They're coming to me.
Michael, you're referencing network a lot, right? So for somebody new with everything going on now and everything being virtual, it's not like how we used to go to meetup events and network, right? Now it's different. So for somebody new that isn't used to, going up on stage or Zoom, and they were already shy to introduce themselves to somebody, how would one do it now? Are you doing anything different now that we're on the social media space? Like 100%?
Yeah, believe it or not, and this might sound opposite, but it's easier because you don't have to be around a lot of people. All you have to do is really look for some amazing networking groups. South Jersey REIA is one of them. Yeah. There's one in Central Jersey. There's one in North Jersey. They're all over. There's tons in PA. So there's larger groups, guys, and they run Zoom networking calls monthly, bi-monthly. And there's a lot of other smaller organizations or meetups that also do it, guys. Just start plugging in. I say if you plug in, you'll get the results. And then when you're doing that, guys, it's not hard. Introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Michael J. And if that's all you're going to say, that's okay. And then listen, ask them for their phone number and then call them up. What's the big deal? And say, can I speak to you for 5 minutes? And start that rapport, start that relationship, start that networking. But you have to take action, guys. If you're not taking action, unfortunately, it's not going to happen. So take action. Join a couple of networking meetings. What's the big deal? Focus on the real estate industry. There's a ton of them out there, and you'll start building that network. I'm telling you right now, you absolutely will. That's how I started. I just started networking, and I started meeting wholesalers, mortgages, real estate agents, insurance guys, flippers. I mean, they're all out there, guys. Just network, and it's not hard. Just, say who you are, and you can say, I'm new. I just want to build a relationship, and ask a couple of questions. I mean, it's not hard, but that's what I would recommend for anybody brand new.
By the way, guys, we have over 90 people on this call right now. And so if you guys use the chat section, you guys also can network with each other there and, friend each other after and just begin that initiation of, hey, how are you? What do you do? How can I be of service? So definitely amazing advice. Thank you so much for that, Michael. We're going to come back to you here in a second. All right. Let's go down to David. David, I know recently you've been making a lot of business moves, brother. I'm super excited for you. I know that you guys have a lot of cool projects that you're working on right now with Lucerne Capital. So just let our audience know kind of what business has been like over the past 6 months. What have your focuses been from being a guy who literally had one of the top hard money companies to now is doing amazing work in the syndication and the apartment complex space. So tell me a little bit about kind of the past 6 months for you and, your team.
Sure. So, the past 6 months have been interesting to say the least, but we've actually taken this opportunity to kind of set our wheels in motion for some bigger growth that we've been planning all along. So for the last almost 5 years, we've been purchasing and acquiring multifamily apartment buildings, doing some unique value adds. Some of them we've done on our own balance sheet. Others we've syndicated with our retail investor base. From the funding company, we have a huge retail investor base that we built over the years. And a lot of those folks had followed us in and wanted exposure to owning real estate on an institutional level or a larger scale where they can still get the benefits of cash flow, appreciation, depreciation. And so, we've been heavily focused in 2 markets, as I mentioned at the beginning, in Philadelphia and down in Charlotte. And we really see a lot of opportunity, even in the face of COVID. There's some challenges. I'll talk about that in a minute, but we think that those areas have a lot of legs and long-term growth and upside in the market. As a cost of living, it's a lot more affordable than other major metros. Philly is, as far as anything in the Northeast, the strongest city as far as a cost of living, and it provides really great access to culture, arts, education, business. You've had a lot of Fortune 500 companies moving there. Some of the biggest real estate investors out of New York have been migrating down to the Philly market because there's a lot of upside in rents. And we see a lot of really long-term growth potential there. So we're focused on typically a 3 to 7 year investment horizon. So we, right now there's some challenges, but that's, part of investing, but we've been strategic in maneuvering through some of that. Down in Charlotte, there's been a huge exodus from the Northeast over the last 5 years and even beyond that. But the growth and the explosion of growth down there is huge. And we've been finding incredible deals and opportunities. So actually about middle of October, we launched a brand new fund. We're right in the process. We closed out the first round. We're raising $25 million in equity and acquiring probably about $75 million in real estate. It's a 5-year fund. We just closed on our first acquisition, which was in Center City, Philadelphia, a really good value add, which is where we really excel. It's a 42 unit, bought it for $12.5 million. Rents were like 20% below market because the previous owner had really owned and managed commercial assets, retail and office, and treated it the same. So they always focused on occupancy, and not even without going in and doing major CapEx, which we plan to do, there was easy natural upside. So we're really focused on opportunities. And as Mike talked about with network and growing, we've built incredible resources, and it doesn't happen overnight. When I started, I said, I was in the brokerage business. I started flipping houses in the early 2000s. I launched Alpha with my partner, Mark, in 2007. We grew that, over $600 million, and then launched Lucerne. And, it happens over time, and you build these connections and resources. So we're really focused on that, and we're seeing a lot of good opportunities, and believe that the next 2 to 3 years are going to provide even better opportunities for some of the commercial distress assets. Like we have a project right now that we're in contract with to convert a long-term stay hotel into apartments. And there's a lot of opportunity if you're thinking outside the box and being able to do that. So we've taken our team and expertise and tried to apply it to not only benefit us as our, as a company and the principals, but to all the investors that entrust us with their capital and have, put faith in us to put some of their hard-earned money to work in the real estate space.
David, I'm very interested because like even here in Jersey City and all throughout, Jersey as a whole, it seems like there's a lot of developers that are taking these, commercial units and really just turning them into apartment complex spaces. Do you find that that might be an overused strategy, or is it like a strategy that's really well, especially in your markets right now?
So I think everything is market dependent, right? If you go to upstate New York, opportunities are different than New York City is an interesting play, right? You have to be generational money, long-term. It's like, in my mind right now, it's like land banking, right? There's going to be there's a long road before that recovers. Pre-COVID, you had a lot of the political environment with rent control and a lot of the other things that the direction the city was heading in causes a lot of problems for owners. And that market was baked to perfection. You couldn't buy an asset for more than less than a 3 cap. Assets were creating at such a high valuation, left very little room for error. So even New Jersey, we look at, is limited in terms of opportunity, and there is stuff on every level, but we see that the red tape politically and getting approvals done if you're doing a transition is very challenging. The costs can be very high. So we like to, Carolinas, for instance, is very landlord friendly and very, business friendly, where New Jersey has a lot of challenges. Philly has been, and there's some changes going on right now that could change the landscape over a long period of time, but is really a good market that provides growth. So it's really about the individual market. You can't apply one strategy in every area. You have to find the nooks and crannies that work in each market.
I think that's such a like spot on point there, is like really identifying what's going on in that market. And I mean, if you wouldn't mind just hitting on that a little bit more in terms of like maybe like what are like one of the two factors that you kind of look for to decide, hey, is this a good market to enter into to raise the millions and millions of dollars that you're putting together and buy these complexes and add the value to them?
Right. So I think there's a few different major factors that we look at. I mean, one of the biggest factors would be, you know, what is the cost of living and the business environment look like? So you want to see job growth, you want to see development going on, you know, from if it's an urban area, you want to see in the face of COVID, but businesses opening, more of a, you know, it's an overword used, but gentrification, or an area that's appealing to a millennial population that's more apt to spend dollars and get out and do stuff. So we look at affordability and the upside. Where can that go in 5, 10 years? Like, this may be a long shot, but the way I look at like the Southeast and, like I said, in the Carolinas and Georgia, you know, in 10 years from now, like we're actually acquiring another asset next week. It's a $9.5 million apartment building down in Charlotte near another project that we have. I think if we hold on to this, in 10 years, it'll be worth $20 million. And we're in an area that's it's in a path of growth. Like, you're seeing this area or section of of Charlotte starting to turn. You're seeing better quality product, attracting better quality tenants. You're seeing businesses that follow. So you look for what kind of retail is opening up, who's servicing the people that are living there, what kind of office space and jobs. Is there an Amazon, you know, distribution center nearby? What kind of access do you have to major highways to be able to commute to other areas? So there's a bunch, you know, a lot of different factors.
Yeah, there's so much more you look into, but those points alone were spot on. So, Sean, you have anything?
Nah, I mean, I always know that real estate is a high performance game, you know, and you never really get clarity from somebody that's doing what you're doing. And to hear how in debt you go to kind of consider what works and what not work is incredible. I think that was thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving pieces to the puzzle, and you know, you being someone who's definitely really focused in on it and put the time in place. But you know, I gotta ask, when you bought your first apartment complex, what were like some of the, you know, because a lot of people on here, they're new, and when they hear that, oh wow, this guy just raised $25 million to buy, you know, this huge apartment complex in Philadelphia, like, I can assume there's so many fears that come up. And so would you mind just kind of addressing some of those? Like, what were some of the fears that you had when you first got into, you know, these bigger number games? Did you have any fears at all? And how did you address those?
You know, it's funny.
Are you fearless, David? You're fearless, aren't you? You seem like that type.
No, it's interesting because I have to learn to take a step back and kind of recognize where I'm at or what's going on in my life at times. And it's easy to forget that. And sometimes, and all of you guys who've had success, like, you know, you don't celebrate your wins enough, and, you know, these things become more normal to you. And I'm not saying that, you know, at each step, you're always thinking, what can I do next? Or if you're an entrepreneur or you want to invest in real estate, like, that's the mindset that you have. So I don't want to say I'm never satisfied, but you know what, I am, and there have been some amazing things that we've accomplished. We've had plenty of failures and lots of challenges along the way, and I could do a whole webinar on that. But you know what, I think it kind of naturally happened. We surrounded, you know, whether we got lucky or we surrounded ourselves with the right people and saw good opportunities. So part of our ability to really go in and execute on these assets, like, my expertise is, you know, in deal structure, finance, valuation, in all those aspects. On the management side, I couldn't have done this on my own. And we were fortunate enough to meet our partner, Frank Forte, who is part of the Lucerne team. It's myself, Mark Colazzo, and Frank Forte. And Frank actually had been on the institutional side. So he was financing, he was an investment banker financing apartment building owners throughout the country. He also, which is super amazing, was one of 5 guys on the special servicing team at Stuyvesant Town. So when that project went belly up years back, Tishman Speyer crapped themselves, pardon my language. And then they came in and asset managed the heck out of it, bring every dollar they could to the bottom line, turning it around and selling it to Blackstone for $5 billion. So like he came out, was looking to start his own thing. And I say, get lucky. Like he came to us looking for equity on his first deal, looking to go out and start a private equity group. We said, listen, not only can we come in and bring the equity for this deal, why don't we partner up? And we kind of launched Lucerne. And so, you know, through networking, through relationships and partnerships, you know, that relationship happened, and we built and done some amazing things together. So it's not all me, and it's, you know, I always talk about filling the gaps and bring other people in to kind of help where you're weak, but you have to be able to understand that and be humble enough to know that I can't do certain things well, and it costs money to either bring in partners or pay a third party, and not be afraid to take those steps. So to wrap up your first question about the fear, I don't even think I was afraid, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I just was like, it was another day that we're moving things forward, and we had our plan and we knew what we were doing, and we were just busy on getting everything done. I wasn't thinking of the gravity of, oh, I'm taking this big leap in my career. Every once in a while I sit back and say, wow, this is amazing. And I'm like, how did I get to where I'm at? But on the day to day, we're just kind of chugging along, you know?
Sean, whatever question you have, get ready to ask it. So just to review that, the way that David addresses his fears is that he identifies what his weakness is, and he knows what value he's going to be bringing. And he simply just brings the weakness or whatever part that he doesn't fully understand. He finds someone who understands that, and he figures out how to get them involved. And to be honest, that is the most logical, sexy way that you can do it. And I love that way because that really reduces the risk big time, especially if you have the right partner. And you have been a man who has constantly found great partners, you know, great borrowers. Like just overall, it's an experience to work with you, and I appreciate you for sharing that, Sean.
No, I mean, yeah, I agree that you can really pinpoint what you're good at, and also, you know, own up to what you're not good at, and allow other people to fill that void. That way you can focus on what you do, because I have a personal team in my wholesale, and I let them know, ultimately, I don't like to do paperwork. Who does? You know, you do that then, you know, and I know that there's people on my team that can't walk up them steps and door knock, you know, but I can. So it enables us to, you know, just, you know, if you do one thing good, focus on that.
Well, I can't tell you, I mean, like, and as you lead or your partners or you're running a small or a large business, there are days where you're deep in the trenches doing work that you don't want to do. Right. And you got to get it done, whether you're up through the middle of the night, putting docs together, reading a contract, 50 pages, 100 pages, making edits on stuff, things that you're not comfortable. I will say that over time, like, you always think to yourself, oh my God, my life's complicated and I got so many things going on. And then the next 2 years later, you look back and you're like, you filled up your cup with all these other things. And you're like, holy crap. Now I'm like, you breeze through all that stuff. And so it's a building process. Obviously, you know, I think the mentality of globalism and the internet is, I gotta climb Mount Everest tomorrow, and I gotta make $1 million and, you know, do X, Y, and Z. And it'd be great if life worked that way, but it does take a lot of hard work and time and doing crappy jobs that you don't want to. But I say, look, when you're doing them, learn what you're doing, like understand what you're reading, try to be a student of everything that you do. And the one other thing that I wanted to add is that outside of that, I think the biggest thing, if you could do to add to success, and part of what got me to where I am, is certainly not perfect. I have days where people think I'm a jerk, but in general, I feel like I really, really try and treat everyone with respect. And I need, with Alpha, when we were growing that business, people in the beginning, there wasn't money out on the street. People would come to me and they were like, I could tell they're nervous, like, oh, this is the guy with the money. And I used to say to them, hey, listen, I need you as much as you need me. I go, there'll become a day where I'm going to need you more. So please, I want to talk to you. Like, everybody in your life that you talk to has an opportunity to provide knowledge to you, to provide a new experience, a new way to look at things. So as Mike's partner, the owners of Signature, John Steingraber, who's a great guy. I don't know if he's watching, but he always preaches about the abundance mentality and really giving to others. And if you truly do that, things do come. Matt Weber, who's part of our team at Alpha, really subscribes to that. And good things happen when you put out good energy, you seek to understand other people, and you look to help. So that's a critical part to being successful.
Guys, if you have gotten any value from this call so far, and keep in mind, we've only heard from Michael J and David. We got Michael Gomez up next, so be ready. All right. But if you've gotten any value at all from this call, please make sure you hit that like and share button, right? Let people know what you're working on, what you're learning about, especially if you believe that they also need this information. So hit the like and share button. Help us expand this beautiful message that these gentlemen are openly sharing with us. David, last question here before we transition to my man, Michael Gomez. All right. I'm just naturally curious because, of course, there are some experienced guys on here, and maybe they have, their cash flow properties together, or maybe they have, their fix and flips going, but they really want to transition into something bigger. And that something bigger could be, a 10 to 20 to 50 to 100 unit, an apartment complex. When it comes to working with those kind of numbers and the infrastructure and just the whole basics of that business, I want to focus in on the financing for a second. What do you see as some of the big risk when it comes to putting the financing together and then deploying that correctly into the opportunity? What do you find?
So financing is an art, kind of, and every deal is different, and different capital is needed for different types of projects. So everything first starts with knowledge and getting educated about the individual asset. You have to be able to underwrite, and it's too much to go through on a short webinar, but it's really understanding what are the rents in place, what is the units like, what is the market offering, what capital could I put in on a building to bring additional dollars. I'll try to make this quick, but I'll just give a good example. If you have a building where you say, okay, I can get if I put $5,000 of capital improvements into this one apartment, I can get an extra $100 a month. And you say to yourself, well, that doesn't sound all that exciting. Let me explain real quick why it is, and then I'll touch base about the financing. So if you put $5,000 in, maybe you put in a new quartz countertop and some appliances and repaint and finish the floor, whatever you do, and that warrants an extra $100 in rent. Now, at the bottom line, that comes out to an extra $1,200 a month, a year, right? It's not a lot of money. But when you look at it, if you're going into a project to hold for a period of time, like the stuff that we do, value add, we're looking at 3-5 years. That extra $1,200 at the cap rates in the market that we're buying, like a Philly cap rate on the types of apartments we're buying, is a 5 cap. So it's a huge multiple. So that's worth $24,000 if you go and sell that extra $1,200 a year in revenue. Minus the $5,000 that you spent, that's $19,000 for a $5,000 investment. So you're making investments into your individual asset. And so you take that one unit and you made $19,000. Now you multiply that to 100 units. That's $1.9 million in value that you created. So you can scale that to any size, but it's important, that example, to understand about how to finance. So when you look at a project and we digest the project, not only are we looking at where rents are, is there upside, what do we want to do on the building? Does it need a lot of work, a major renovation, redo the common areas, redo the entry foyer, all this stuff? Like we've had projects where you put a few $1 million in, and others where you don't put a lot in. Depending on how much capital and CapEx you need, and you got to plan for things that, you know, if it needs a new roof or repointing brick, you need to know all those numbers up front. And until you know it, you can't decide what the right financing is. So if you're going to have a lot of value add, you're going to want some kind of bridge or construction loan. There's either private, like hard money, and commercial bridge lenders. There's also banks that will do stuff. Now, each group will provide one, you know, the leverage may be different one over the other. So you have to weigh out how much equity could I raise, how much risk do I want? If it's a stabilized asset with some minor value add, and it's you know, over $1 million, you can go Fannie Freddie, which is traditionally some of the best financing you can get out there. We just bought that $12.5 million building. We got 81% of proceeds at closing and got a 2.65% floating rate with 5 years of interest only. We're not going to be in the project longer than 5 years. So we're going to rip cash flow. We intentionally did it, and we're not worried about, you know, not paying down the debt, because the debt isn't going to really get paid down much anyway in the beginning. But even more importantly, we're not going to, we're not counting on the out sale because of the market moving up. We're looking at the out sale being higher because we're putting this 5,000 into a unit and creating the value. So you kind of have to really start and understand exactly what it is that you're buying and what your plan is. And then there are good commercial brokers out there that you can work with that can find a home for you if you don't have direct relationships, and have conversations. You know, people could call me if they want to pick my brain, but have conversations with a commercial broker and understand what options there are based on those types of assets. And the last thing is, you may need to go through 5 or 6 or 10 examples before you even get to one, or maybe 15. But those are your warm-ups. It's like doing exercise. You can't go and just build it overnight. So don't get intimidated. I say fake it till you make it. So do these things, act like you're going to buy it, talk to these lenders, and really start to understand it. And they're going to poke holes in your underwriting. They're going to say, well, these rent comps are not correct. Your unit sizes are way too small, or they're bigger, you know, X, Y, and Z. So I know I kind of went over a lot of stuff. Hopefully that was digestible by most people.
David, all I got to say is that you're an alchemist, all right? You're an alchemist at its finest. We all want to schedule a call with you for sure. By the way, David and Michael J., I need your numbers, so put those in the private chat so I can pin them up for you guys at the end. All right, David, thank you for all that information. Let's go over here to Michael Gomez, and then we're going to finish off with fire questions for all these guys. Audience, if you guys have questions, put them in the comment section. I see your guys' questions. We're going to pin those up here in a second. Let's transition here. Sean, I want you to handle this transition. You got to introduce my man Gomez and ask him the hot question, baby.
All right, Michael. Pretty much this is my first experience with you. All I know is you're crazy. I love that. So yeah, I know you're with Signature Realty, and really, I want to learn from you, probably out of Michael J. and David. Personally, reason why is because I have a real estate license myself, but I don't really know how to get started. I know you've been doing this from like 17 years old, being in the game. You know, I'm really in tune with you right now. So, you know, what can you share with us that has really elevated you in this game to where you're at? Because I know it's been, you know, a long road for you, but for somebody just coming in like me, how can we transition really well, especially with everything going on?
That's a great question. And before I even get there, just want to say, you know, great stuff by Michael and Dave. The 2 takeaways I got from both of them, that if you're an audience and you're new to the business, that you should definitely hone in on. You know, Michael said, you know, he kept saying network, network, network. Your network is your net worth. All right. Your network is your net worth. You know, you could really, really build a solid business by, networking with the right people. And with Dave, recognizing, one of the things I took away from you, Dave, is recognizing the opportunities and seizing those opportunities. And that's how you grew your business. And, and it's really about relationships. Now, to answer your question, Sean, it's about relationships, right? One of the things that I did not understand in the beginning of my career when I was doing mortgages is that I became very transactional. And when you do mortgages, when you do real estate, whether it is, whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're a real estate investor, no matter what business you're in, doesn't matter what side of the spectrum you're in, right? Relationships are very important. Not only building them, nurturing it, and maintaining it. That's important, because those relationships are going to 10x your business, right? When I got into the business, I wasn't thinking, or I wasn't of the mindset of being in the business for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. When you're 22, 23 years old, which I started the business 17 years ago. I wish I did at 17 years old. That'd be great. But when you're in business, whether you're 17, 22, 23, I myself, I didn't look 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead. And that was a big mistake. And I started doing that probably about 7, 8 years ago, right? It's all about longevity, building relationships, giving value, right? That's what people want to know. Like, people are not going to do business with you, right? Especially if you're a real estate agent, if you cannot provide value. You have to be credible in your space, right? So like I tell a lot of my agents now, because I'm a chief operating officer at Signature Realty, still a full-time agent as well, you have to, when you're putting content out on social media, you have to ask yourself, am I giving value? Are people, my audience on social media, are they going to learn from this, right? Does my content, is it good or does it suck, right? And sometimes you don't know that you're putting stuff out that's actually building relationship with people. People follow you, right? And they're following you for a reason, because they like you, they like your content, right? So that's very important in this business. And I think in any type of business, I used to own a bar as well. And on Friday nights and Saturday nights, my bar used to get full. And the reason why is because I built relationships, good relationships with people. And in return, they'd come back, right? And, like the rate of return, that 10x mentality, this is real, right? It's all about relationships. That doesn't change for David. That doesn't change for Michael. That doesn't change for me. That doesn't change for Jonathan Steingraber, who David mentioned before. He's all about seek to serve mindset. That's the one thing that I learned from John. And if you guys know John very well, and I think everybody here in this panel pretty much does, especially Dave, you have a really unique relationship with Jonathan. It's seek to serve. That's all it's about, right? When you have that mindset, you adapt it, right? You're building relationships without you even knowing. And it's not about just starting them, right? It's about nurturing them. It's about maintaining them. One of the things that we harp on with our agents is, look, when you close on a client, right? How many times are you going to contact that client after the closing? That client has to be a raving fan. They're not going to be a raving fan unless you went above and beyond and really, really fulfilled the services that you're supposed to fulfill as an agent. But when you do so, and you're always in contact with them, they become a friend. And when they become a friend, they become a raving fan. And here's what happens when they become a raving fan, right? Because that relationship you built, they become a huge referral source for you over the course of 20, 30, 40 years. Everyone you meet that you build a relationship with, they're worth $100,000 or more to you, right? You cannot be transactional in this business. So if you're really looking to become a real estate agent, which I always tell people, like, if you're a wholesaler, if you're flipping homes, right, you should be a real estate agent as well, right? It's about, diversifying. It's about creating more streams of income, right? I'm also a flipper myself. I flip properties as well, in addition to being a real estate agent. And I do it because it's about streams of income, right? I like it. I love it. There's a passion. I have a passion for real estate. I built that passion over the course of 17 years. So back to what I was saying, relationships, it's very, very key. It's very underrated too. I can't tell you how many agents pay to play. You got to change your mindset, and you have to understand, look, it's about building a friendship with that client. If you didn't convert your client into a friend, you didn't do the right job.
That's beautiful advice. So, Michael, I've heard over the past 6 months that being an agent is one of the greatest things in the world. You being literally the COO of an amazing brokerage, especially Signature Realty. What has business been like for you guys? And more specifically, what has business been like for you in the agent space over the past 6 months since COVID hit up to this point?
Weird times. Like, I've seen different markets since 2003. That's when I started in the business. Obviously at the capacity of a loan officer, but it doesn't matter, right? It's the same business, the same market.
Yeah.
And when March came around, I basically pressed the emergency button. I got scared. I was like, oh my God, this is going to affect us, right? And it kind of did March, April. And then something weird started to happen like around May. The phone started ringing a lot. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, people are coming out of the woodworks and they're buying. And when I sat back and started realizing, observing who's buying for the most part, I started noticing it's a lot of New York buyers. So there's been a huge mass exodus from New York, and also from densely populated areas like Jersey City, Hoboken, Union City, etc. They're all flocking into New Jersey. And it isn't just one specific area where real estate is high in New Jersey. It is everywhere in the suburbs. Whether you're in Union County, Monmouth County, Ocean County, Bergen County, I mean, you can throw a dart in one of the counties and it's on fire. And when I say on fire, we look at data. And one of the data that we look at is the absorption rate of a particular town. What is an absorption rate? It's just simply, in layman's terms, the amount of months of supply in a particular town, right? And I beg you can't find a town in Union County, Bergen County, Essex County, in which the absorption rate is higher than 2%, or rather higher than 2. So what does that mean? All right, it means that there's 2 months of supply or less in the market. And when you have that little amount of inventory, what does that mean? That's an indication of a strong seller's market. And this has been the strongest seller's market I have ever seen. We're literally, I'm going to give you an example. We're literally seeing month over month appreciation in some locations, 2 to 3%, month over month. Insanity. I have a client right now that I'm representing, 87 Church Street. We're already under contract, so it doesn't matter. 87 Church Street in Keyport. She bought her property in December of 2019, right? She bought it for $240,000. She did nothing to the property other than put new carpets. That's it. She spent less than $3,000, right? We're in December of 2020. It's been 12 months. When I sat down with her, and she's married to a good friend of mine, I said, look, we can test the market out. I think 290, 295 might be a little bit on the high side, but if we're going to test the market, now is the time to test the market, right? Because I've been wrong about this market, right? So we put it on the market for 295. Within a week, we get 5 offers. 5 offers. Every offer we received was higher than the asking price. And we actually went with a cash offer for $301,000. Now, she bought it for $240, she's selling it for $301, right? Those are amazing appreciation levels, over 20% in the course of 12 months. And now you see that type of appreciation for somebody who bought a house, right? An investor who's fixing it up and then puts it back in the market. No, she just bought the house, paying her mortgage of $1,600 and change, right? And now she's selling it for $60,000, $61,000 to be exact, more than what she bought it. So it's amazing. It's been amazing. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think back in March, if you had asked me in March, and many people have, what's going to happen to the market. And of course, look, nobody has a crystal ball, right? It's just an opinion. You have an opinion, I have an opinion, Dave's got an opinion, Mike's got an opinion, right? But one of us is going to be right, right? And back in March, when people asked, what do you think is going to happen to the market? I said, the market's going to dive. That's what I thought, right? And I'm sure Dave thought so too, right? When your business started, like money started contracting a lot. I'm like, Jesus, this is we're going to get hurt. I'm thinking 2007, 2008 again, and it was the opposite. Everything's gone up since April. It's amazing, especially if you're a seller. Frustrating if you're a buyer, right? Because if you're a buyer, you're going to have to swallow the fact that you're going to have to go well over asking price. And right now, you're probably going to have to waive appraisal contingency. What does that mean, right? If the house under appraises from the contract price, you're going to have to come up with the difference from your pocket. But a lot of buyers are doing it. Why? Interest rates are at an all-time low. Remember I told you I did loans? I've never seen interest rates 30-year fixed at 2.5%. If you are, listen to this, which is crazy. If you are a New Jersey police officer or fireman, right? New Jersey police officer or fireman, right? There is a special loan for you. I want you guys to guess what their interest rate is right now. And it only adjusts every 6 months.
3%.
What do you think it is?
3%.
No. Interest rates at 2.5% for a regular person. 1.55. That's their.
Oh, wow.
At that point, it's like free money, right? Like, why would you put a large down payment if your interest rate's 1.55? Imagine borrowing hard money at 1.55, right, Dave? I mean, give me a line of 10 million, and I'll give it to Mike. Mike, buy a bunch of properties up in Woodbury, right? It's the same. So you combine COVID, right? Exodus in New York. You combine interest rates being at an all-time low, and you combine supply being very low. There's not much inventory in New Jersey. What do you get? You get this, right? You get demand soaring. And I don't know when this is going to stop, to be quite honest with you. I really don't. I don't see it slowing down. We have 140 plus agents. In fact, we have 145 agents right now at Signature, and many of them are doing very well. And and we're not the type of agency that only focuses on buyers. We focus on listing because we understand that listing a property, you can leverage that listing to get buyers, right?
Yep.
Right.
And by the way, Michael, to what you said, we do a lot of exclusives too. So don't worry about it. I'm not mad at you. So we're leveraging those listings, right? And it's just, I see how quick these listings are going, like they're going under contract. Like houses are literally selling faster than cars. And people look at me like I have three eyes. And I'm saying, no, it's true. We put houses on the market and we're thinking like, this is not going to sell for this price. There's no way. And then within like 3 days, there's like multiple offers. And we're like, oh my God, what's going on? Right. So obviously right now we're loved by sellers. We're hated by buyers. But exclusive listings is our friend. We have a lot of listings in the office, and we also have a lot of buyers. So we try to pair up our buyers with our sellers before we put it on the market. And look, we tell our buyers, look, even though it's an exclusive listing, you still have to, you got to come up at a price where it's going to be an incentive for the seller not to put it on the market. Right. So they're still not getting a break. Right? They're just not going to have to compete with multiple offers, because if you're competing with 5-6 different offers, you're going to have to go even higher, right? So if we get the seller a very good offer where it's above ask, good down payment, they're obviously going to accept it. Seller's happy, buyer's happy, the real estate agent is happy, and the boss, the COO here is happy.
So, Michael, I'm curious because knowing that interest rates are so low, knowing that there's so many buyers that are out there right now, and based off the information that you just provided for us, seems like that a lot of people are, offering above ask. Why do you feel that sellers right now are not selling? It's like, why is there not more inventory right now?
Well, look, there's a couple of reasons, right? Some sellers are just not ready to sell because it's not the right time for them. They're not ready yet to retire. So for them, it's not really about the money. It's the right timing. They have a job, they have to continue to work, but they're not going to be able to sell. Other sellers are still very scared of COVID. I think that, which we're very close, right, with Pfizer, we're very close with the vaccine. It's already out there, obviously, but I don't think it's going to hit the street, as they say, in anytime soon. I think in the next quarter. But a lot of sellers are waiting for that vaccine before they put the house on the market because they're scared. They're scared and they're fearful of the vaccine, right? If you're 60 plus years old, there's a reason why you're scared. You should be scared. So they don't want a bunch of people walking in their home. So I think that's one of the other reasons why they're simply waiting. And some sellers are really not tuned in with the market yet. They just don't know that, or they're not educated enough yet to know that the market is where it's at, right? This is the best time to sell. It doesn't matter if it's winter time. We saw a lot of properties in the winter. Like this December, we're gearing up to have one of the best Decembers that we've ever had in the last 10 years. The company's been established for 10 plus years. So people they aren't educated enough, right? They think that they got to sell their home in March, in April, springtime, everybody's going to come out and buy. That isn't such the case. If you're a seller right now and you're listening, right, the right time is now, because markets could change in March, in April. Rates can go up, even though I think they're going to come down a little bit more, which would be bad, right? So it's a slew of things. It isn't just one particular thing. And again, I think mostly it's just timing. People are just not ready yet. Like if you got 2 more years left to retire, right? That if you sell high, obviously you're going to buy high. If you sell low, you obviously know you're going to buy low. A lot of sellers understand that concept, so they're not that eager yet to sell.
I get it. So then, the big question that, by the way, we have over 100 people on this call right now, so love all you guys. The big question that we all have then is, how do we get the listings? How are we getting these deals today?
Well, it depends. As an investor or as a retail buyer, that's
well, investor. This is investor community,
Yeah, look,
always.
If you're an investor, you have to reach out to us. We have a lot of deals, but like Michael said, right? Relationships, right? David also relationship. Like Michael said, he vets the wholesalers. Same thing with us. We don't just work with any investor because, there's a lot of guys and a lot of girls that come into the office that call, and they claim to be, this self-proclaimed big flipper. And then we end up finding out they're really not. What we care about is somebody who's going to perform, and here's what we do. If you do business with Signature Realty, NJ, one of the greatest things about some of the services that we provide, right, which we provide a lot of services, is that we become a resource for you. What does that mean, right? So if you're looking to sell, we pair you up with an investor. Like if you tell me, Mike, look, I want to sell, but I don't want my house on the market. It's got a lot of work and this, that, and the other needs to be updated. I want an investor to come in and buy my house. Not a problem. We have a bunch of investors that we work with. We'll bring in the person that we believe is going to be the perfect fit for you. What's the perfect fit, right? Someone who's going to close, right? Someone whose personality is good, and someone who's going to meet their criteria. Meaning like, look, Mike, I want to leave everything behind. There are investors like myself. I've done this before where I'll buy a property and say, look, leave it all behind. Don't worry about it. I'll put a dumpster here and I'll get somebody to clean it out. No problem. You guys can go, right? So that's perfect. And it works great for the investor. It works great for the seller. We do a good job. And look, another thing we do, like I said, we become a resource for you. If you are an investor and you need capital, you need a capital partner, Dave knows this. We'll pair that person up with Matt, that works with Dave. And now you have a capital partner, right? And look, and if you're a wholesaler and you want to put the home on the market, like I'm, having a difficult time, I don't have enough buyers on my list, right, Sean? I don't have enough buyers, or I don't approach a buyer, or I don't know how to run the numbers, but I know I locked this deal and it seems to be a good deal. You call me up and I'll pair you up with one of the agents in my office, or I'll help you out myself, and we'll go over the scope of work, right? We'll go over the ARV, right? That's what investors want to know. Like a flipper wants to know, is there enough meat in the bones for me to make money, right?
Right.
And a wholesaler, Mike is right. A lot of wholesalers don't have a notion when it comes to scope of work. They'll say, look, it's $20,000 of work, $20,000 worth of work. So, what's wrong with it? Oh, you got to redo the bathrooms, you got to redo the kitchen, you got to do the roof, you got to do the siding. I'm like, that's not $20,000 worth of work. You're way off, right? So, and it's not because that wholesaler's, trying to trick the investor, because most investors are savvy. They know what they're buying. Is that simply they're not educated in that space. They just don't know. They don't have enough experience. So we do a good job at educating that wholesaler as well. Look, this is what you need to do. We're going to do a walkthrough, and I'll go because I have knowledge in construction because I've done 50 plus flips. So I understand it. But here's what we'll do. We'll put them up with one or two contractors, get an estimate. So when you pitch it to an investor like Michael J., right, now you got a scope of work. Look, it's $200,000. It's $50,000 worth of work. But Mike Gomes from Signature Realty, reputable agents, telling me that it's worth $350 once you're done. Right? So now it's an attractive sexy deal for Michael J. He's not going to say, no, I don't want it. He's going to go and buy it, right? If he wants to flip, right? So that's what we do. We like I said, we do a great job with the seek to serve mindset. We do a great job at being your resource and pairing you up with the right people, right? And sometimes we don't have the answers to everything, but we'll go out there and we'll find out, right? So that's what we do very good at. That's it.
I like that a lot. I want everybody that's on the call to know, like, if you come to your space with something in hand, you literally are giving away free education. You're like, all right, here, let me show you how you can make this work. And all they would have to do is actually take that in, listen, and do that action, right? So even for me, like a lot of times I'm not sure of what the value of something is. So I ask my buyer, what would you buy this at? And just to know what they would buy it at, honestly, it gives me an incentive to go and get something lower, because anything lower, essentially is mine. And, I don't think a lot of newbies actually take the initiative to go into your space, because sometimes of shyness or being scared. But really, if they overcome that mindset and just approach with something in hand and be authentic about it, you give them the know-how to get that done. I love that a lot,
Sure. Seek to serve. That's what we're all about. And Dave, and Elijah, I haven't really transacted with Michael J., but they'll both tell you that that's our mindset. That's where we come from. We generally want everybody else around us to win. That's how we are. I see a question, Mike Gomes, are you accepting newly licensed agents at Signature Realty? Absolutely, we are. And here's what we do. We do a fantastic job at training, giving you the right support. And our culture at the office is second to none. We've built a great synergy, an absolutely amazing environment, at the office. You won't see that right now because of COVID, but we still have agents coming into our office. And look, if you're a newly licensed agent or someone that's taking the test, shoot me a call. Elijah's going to put my information on. You can go on our website, exploresignature.com. I don't know if Elijah could, put that on the chat or on the group chat, but exploresignature.com. That's our career page. Watch the videos. It really gives you a breakdown of who we are, what we do, and why we believe we're the perfect brokerage out there, the perfect fit for you.
I'm trying to multitask, Sean. Take this over.
Is it only Jersey that you guys are at?
Yeah, right now we are only in New Jersey. I mean, we do have plans that later on in the future, potentially to branch out in New Jersey, but we really want to continue growing in New Jersey. We've done a great job. We're really, in terms of market share, we've, captured a great market share right now in New Jersey, specifically Union County, Bergen County, Essex County, and we're marching into Monmouth County soon at some point, Dave. I know he's asking that question, but our focal point right now is New Jersey, and we're thinking about going outside of New Jersey at some point. But that's a great question, Sean. Yeah, absolutely.
All
right, gentlemen.
I'm always mindful, right, when I'm in these like spaces of how much we're actually talking about real estate, and it always reminds me of like a football game. Like essentially, they're only playing for like 10 minutes in total, right? And it's just beautiful that the awareness of mindset always pops out to me, because it's mostly what you guys preach a lot, having that mindset to just constantly grow. Like even David, like you're doing what, 25 million? I couldn't imagine me hitting 1 million yet, so, but I know that if I hit 1 million, next is what, like 2.5, it's just like
25 mil next.
Right, when they say it's levels to this, like it's as real as it could be, just watching you guys and where you're at in life, it really is levels, and not like levels monetary like money, but it's almost like levels to the mindset that you have to accept.
Well, I just want to add one thing too. I mean, everyone takes different paths, and you can be ultra successful in any strategy, whether you're just a wholesaler, whether you're a broker. I mean, we're not like, I'm sure if you look at Michelle Pice's gross revenue and her team, it's very impressive, right? Like you could be a guy that just buys 2 to 3 families. Mel Oliveri, who I'm friends with, who owns a lot of stuff up in North Jersey. You can become ultra successful in whatever niche you decide. Like going big into multifamily isn't the right fit for everyone, and it takes different skills and whatever, and there's pros and cons to each, but it doesn't, your success is not limited by the strategy that you choose. I mean, some of the wealthiest people I know own like landscape companies and HVAC companies. You think like, oh, you own that. So I think it's really important to understand that. I can say, because when I got in the business way back when, at every step, there's always that little intimidation factor that drives you further and to become better. But you got to find a path that you're good at and assemble a team that you can work with. So don't sit there and be like, I got to go do apartment buildings. You could make more money than anyone on this panel wholesaling, building out a national wholesale network if you're the best guy at the game. So it's really about the path you want to go and becoming the best at that art.
That's such a spot on point there. Because even like there's another investor that we all know here. I mean, he bought 20 properties over the past 20 years, but those things are paid off. They're making him $1,000 a month, but only 20 properties. But his retirement account is set up for the rest of his life. Yeah, just on 20 properties. So David hit the nail on the head. Understand who you are, understand what you want, and make it happen. Get the right people involved, make it happen.
And all right, gentlemen. They've said something earlier on, probably a half an hour ago. Understand your niche, but become an astute student of the game. Right, whatever it is that you want to be, whether you want to be a great wholesaler, a great real estate agent, a great multifamily developer or developer, whatever the case may be, just understand it, right? Learn as much as you can. Like John always says, become obsessed with whatever it is that you want to have a niche, right? And when you become obsessed with it, you're going to learn so much, absorb so much that you're going to be great at it, right? So Dave is right. Like you could become successful in anything. The beauty of real estate is that it's multifaceted, right?
Mhm.
You could be, like you said, you can own 3s and 4s, or you can own, several apartment buildings, or you can own a lot of, I know somebody who owns only single family homes. That's it. Only single family homes. And he owns like over 200 of those, right? Yeah. And you can do so much in this business, right? Like a lot of people are so scared, like, oh, there's so much competition. There's so much. Don't worry about the competition. It's not about a sprint. It's a marathon, right? You go at your own pace and eventually you'll get there, right? Some people are going to be more successful than you. Instead of you hating on that person, right? Become inspired, right? Aspire to become them, right? That's what you need to do. And here's a panel filled with people that are willing, right, to give you back information, educate you. Like Michael J said, look, I coach for free. You know how hard that is to find somebody that's willing to coach for free? That's a genuine person. It comes from the heart, right? That's that seek to serve mindset that I was talking about, right? And when you come from that place, things happen for you, right? I'm sure that Michael probably's gone, has done a couple of deals with some of his students because he's given them what? His time, right? He's dedicated, and they come back, hey, I got a deal. Why don't we do it together? That's just, those are opportunities. And that goes back to what Dave said, recognizing opportunities, seizing the moment. And Michael back, before when he was talking, your network is your net worth. Put those two together, you're going to make a lot of money, but you're also going to help a lot of people, right? That's what it's about. Helping people in the way, and the money comes with you. It's part of the territory. That's what it is. You get compensated for your time.
All right, guys, I have to respect everyone's time here. So listen, for all you Facebook audience, lovely family member folks, put in the comment section, do I have your permission to run 5 to 10 minutes past due? We're going to end at 8:30 originally. Do I have your permission to run to 8:35, 8:40? Because if so, I'm going to get into my question and then answer all of your guys' questions. So put it in the comment section right now. Yes or no, does Elijah Baba, New Jersey Real Estate Investor Association, have permission to run at 8:35, 8:40? Put in the comment section right now. I need at least 10 yeses. All right, we got it. Love you guys. Okay, so guys, let's transition here, and then we're gonna get to all the audience members' questions. Yeah, dude, you guys got like 40 yeses already. You guys are rock stars, yo. All right, gentlemen, 2021 is right around the corner. My birthday is January 4th. I better get a happy birthday from everybody. That was so selfish. Jesus. 2021 is right around the corner. What do you guys see happening in the near future within your space? Also, how do we as investors best prepare, best position ourselves right now to get ready for what's to come? What do we need to do? Who do we need to be? What do you guys see happening in the near future? Let's start off with my man, Michael J.
All right. Well, first, happy birthday, and I'll make sure I get you on the 4th. Don't you worry there. Guys, you make your own destiny. You make your own future. You can worry about 2021 and not do anything and just sit back. You can take action. It's about taking action. So if you do that, guys, you can really create any way you want to do 2021. For myself, I'm going to take massive action. I'm going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to network. I'm going to continue to build those relationships and continue to buy real estate, guys. One of the things you can start doing if you haven't been doing it is start educating yourself. Michael was talking about education, and I agree so much. It's so important. He mentioned, 10X, right? 10X yourself. Grant Cardone has a book that's called 10X. Read it. If you haven't read it and you want to take some massive action, that's the book to read, guys. It's going to be incredible. But again, educate yourself, get involved, plug in, start learning as much as you can. And then, guys, take action. Again, don't be an action faker, be an action taker. Very important.
You better trademark that, brother. You better trademark that.
No, I've not heard that one before. That's a good one.
Right, I've never heard that either.
Michael, quick question. Do you see yourself continuing to buy apartment complexes? Is it going to be a more focus? Multifamily buildings? Is it going to be a more focus on single families? You're going to continue down the path of buy and hold with the focus of buy and hold. What about for you specifically in the coming months to a year?
Absolutely. Me specifically, I love multifamily. Nothing against single family. To me, the model works. If you have a multifamily, and you buy it right, no matter if someone leaves, you always have someone else renting, and it always covers your mortgage. When you have a single family, someone leaves, now you're out, for a month or two. Again, nothing wrong with single family. My model, I like multifamily. I like covering. So the chances of both people, if you have a duplex leaving, are rare, or if you have a triplex or fourplex. So for me, my goal is to continue to buy multifamily. If I come across a single family and it's a blockbuster deal, I'll absolutely look at it. But my personally model is multifamily.
I love it. And I think this is an important question for any investors or realtors or wholesalers that are out there. What kind of markets are you going to be focusing on for the coming months as well as right now? You buying in like D class neighborhoods, C, B class neighborhoods? What's kind of your criteria?
I stay predominantly in about a C area, C plus area. I never go in D's. It's not for me. A lot of people I know do that. I don't go in A's either. I stay, in the B minus to C, C plus areas. And it's a great area to be in. And there's tons of rental opportunities in there and tons of great deals. So for me, I like that. That's my sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. All right. Thank you very much, Michael. Jay?
Thank you, Michael.
David, talk to me, brother. Tell us what's up.
What's up? What's the question again? What about 2021 in terms of getting ready for 2021 and what?
Yeah, predictions. What's going to be the strategy? Yep.
I mean, I think it's a really, really interesting time. Obviously, the residential market is in the suburbs is going crazy, fueled by low interest rates. The stock market has been doing amazing because you can't get returns anywhere else, so it's flooding into the market. The other thing that I think is really interesting for the real estate investor outside of what we're doing on the multifamily side is I think that the COVID is actually going to create a very long window of opportunity for real estate investors. So we're going to have a first resurgence of some of the people that did get crushed, and there'll be opportunities, I say, help them out. Like my buddy Matt Marinoff, who does short sales, that's going to come back up quite a bit. There's going to be opportunities there with distressed assets because people just can't afford to be in their homes. But the other thing is that's going to bring a flood of inventory for people over the next year. But I think there'll be a second wave behind that, because what's really interesting right now is because money is so cheap. The last recession, the last downturn we had, we were faced with real estate leading this crash and lagging behind. But this time, real estate's going to take us out of the recovery. It's a pro and a con, because what I think is going to happen is you have a lot of people with a lot of equity. You bought a house 2 years ago, you're drunk with money and equity, and banks are lending again. So it's actually going to create a credit crunch several years down the road, because people are tapping their piggy banks on their house, and they're helping the economy by doing work in their home and everything else. So we're going to have this first wave of distressed assets that comes out from people that are having a hard time. Great opportunity for people to buy. On the stuff that we're doing, like we're looking at some very unique stuff. Like I said, we're doing this, we're in the middle of working on this project to convert a long-term stay hotel. We're looking at other commercial assets that we can convert over to multifamily. I think there's going to be fantastic opportunity in that space on a larger scale. I think multifamily is a solid investment. We're very focused on B to A minus assets and neighborhoods. When we started, we did a lot of C, and on larger assets, the cap rates were very attractive. That got compressed and is very close to the same cap rates you get on a B and a A minus. And I think that the tenant base for those types of assets are going to be more resilient, because although, and I'm not saying it's a bad strategy, my concern is going in and buying in neighborhoods where people are more blue collar workers or hourly employees that are living paycheck to paycheck. They're the ones that are going to, with the exception of the government bailing, other bailouts and some other stimulus, those are the ones that are suffering the most. And, obviously as a business owner owning real estate, you may become burdened by their situation, especially with these eviction moratoriums. So I think you got to be careful when you're buying rental property right now. Make sure you're in areas and attractive to a tenant base that will remain strong. I think that the future is bright on the lending side, both on private and hard money. That's loosened back up again, and the doors are opening up, and there's great opportunity there. So I think that, the next 2 to 3 years are going to be a great opportunity. So don't feel like you got to rush out tomorrow, but be committed to getting yourself educated, focus on your strategy, focus on whatever areas you want to buy in, and push forward. And like I said, no matter what strategy you pick, if you become an expert in it and knowledgeable in that area, you're going to do well, and surround yourself with good people. So I think there's a lot of good to come.
That's a beautiful explanation. So definitely be looking into short sales pretty often, and really understand the opportunities that you're going after, because there's going to be there's already is abundant amount of them. You just have to understand how to see them based off what I learned from David. So thank you for that, brother.
Yeah.
All right, Michael Gomez, man, being an agent has been a hot thing. It's been a hot thing, getting the buyers, getting the listings. And I know you're very informative, especially on the investor side as well. So talk to us about, just kind of your thoughts, your beliefs, what you guys are seeing within your guys' brokerage, over the year to come. And, what do we need to do so we can really just get started or make an impression, start making money, good money in this business?
Yeah, look, the markets have done very, very well over the course of the last couple of years. I just think that, when the dust settles because of COVID-19, I think we're going to start seeing some real numbers, and we're going to see the damage that COVID-19 has done. I'm actually anticipating that by fourth quarter of this coming year, that you're going to start seeing foreclosures going up, especially in urban areas, right? I have a lot of conversations with landlords who are not getting paid their rent because tenants don't want to pay them, or tenants have lost their jobs. And just to understand that the hospitality industry, the retail industry, right, has been affected tremendously. I get calls every day from people who have lost their jobs, long-term jobs at like Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Lord & Taylor, people who are in the airline business. Those people, many of them have mortgages, and they're at the point where they can't make the payments. And we're going to start seeing the negative impact of that moving forward, depending on what type of stimulus package we see this first quarter, by Congress. I don't think that the markets are sustainable the way they are right now. We've seen too much appreciation too quickly. Growth is great, but rapid growth isn't good for the economy, right? If you look at the Federal Reserve, they have two responsibilities, right? It's to provide a supply of money into the markets, and also to contract money from the markets, right? Literally pull money from the banks when they see rapid growth. So 2021 is going to be an interesting time as far as what's going to happen for the future. Like Dave said, 3-5 years out, I think the markets will stay strong first, second, and third quarter, and even in the fourth quarter, specifically in suburbs. But depending on where the unemployment rate is going to be, we have a transition of presidents, we have a transition probably of Congress. A lot of that is going to have an impact on the economy overall in the next 4 to 8 years. But as an agent, as an investor, here's what that I'm going to tell you. My experience from 2008 is that there's always going to be opportunities no matter what market we are in. So if you are a flipper, start gearing up, right, to maybe not do big projects and do quick, small projects, right? $30,000, $40,000 rehabs rather than $200,000 ad levels, or new constructions where it could take 2-3 years for you to sell from the point that you start working on it, right? You know how that goes. You put your plans in, it takes 4 or 5 months to get approved, right? Then you start building, that could be another 1.5 years. And then by the time you actually sell it, 2-3 years, that's a long time. You can be stuck with that property. So go into smaller projects. Start looking at the multifamily sector, because I think, like Dave said, there's going to be a lot of great opportunity, which Mike is probably salivating at the mouth right now. I think there's going to be a lot of great opportunity, especially in C-class areas where, you know, there are going to be people that have equity, but they want to jump. They want to get out of there as soon as possible because they don't want to deal with tenants. The tenants aren't paying and they're just sick of it, right? Everybody's situation is different. That's why real estate's beautiful. It doesn't matter what kind of market you're in. There's opportunities. You just have to figure out what the opportunity is. And like Dave said a while back, right? Understand your strength. Delegate your weaknesses. That same thing comes with these opportunities. Understand these opportunities. Understand where you think your strengths lie, right? I know, Sean, you said knocking on doors is something you would do, but you don't like to do paperwork. That's because you understand your strength. You understand that you have to delegate your weaknesses, but understand your strength. Look at these opportunities. Look at the data, right? Look at these steep class areas. Look at the multifamily sector, because I think fourth quarter of 2021, you will start to see a shift in the markets. And right now it's still great because the interest rates are low. But at some point, like I said, the Federal Reserve has to contract the markets. At some point, that might change. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know when. All I know is that, we're prepared for whatever market there is. It doesn't matter. We've seen it all. Be tough, right? Tough times don't last. Like they say, tough people do.
Tough people, baby.
Thank you, Michael.
Man, beautifully said. Thank you so much for that, Michael. All right, guys, I got 5 minutes with you guys. Let's run through these questions. Okay, I'm gonna be asking the question. Let's get them answered. Let's keep this moving. And if you guys have questions, audience, put them in the comment section now. We're rocking and rolling. Here we go. Leor asks, can you explain refinancing? So Michael J, you bought the property for $100,000. You put in the $2 for the carpet or whatever. You refinance it $210. What exactly does that mean? Answer that real quick, Michael. Jay?
Yeah, so essentially just the money I put in, I bought it under market value. I went ahead and helped the appraiser with looking at it. I even supplied them some comps. Comps are comparable to other areas for the same unit. And they came back to about, like I said, 210,000. And I was able to refi it and pay back that 100,000 and, made the difference between that, maybe about 70, 80,000 in profit, on top of keeping it. So a refi is just refining your property at the market value that it appraises for.
Perfect. And then David Hansel, you want to hit on how do you qualify for a hard money loan? So if someone's interested in, possibly getting a hard money loan, how would they qualify? How would they know if it's a good fit for them?
Sure. For our company at Alpha, it's pretty simple. Shoot an email to info@alphafunding.com or go to the website and click on one of the links to get pre-approved. But basically, one of our team members would talk to you. There's a short, just to understand what you're looking to do, there's a short app that takes like 10, 15 minutes to fill out at most. And then you'd have a borrower interview with one of our underwriters. You get to know them, understand what kind of dollars you would need to bring to the table for a deal. And then when you find a deal, you're set and ready to go. And once you're pre-approved, the company, we can offer free proof of funds as you're making offers out in the market. And our team, we've done thousands of loans and can help underwrite and quickly size up the deal with you. And when you do have a deal, we just get the scope of work that you plan to do. We look at the ARV of what it's going to be worth when it's done. So we'll go out, hire an appraiser and snap our fingers and pretend like all the work was done and what's the value of that property that day. And so that's why we're able to provide so much leverage, because you, like I was talking about with the apartments, you're creating value. You're not just hoping it happens, you're creating it by improving the asset. But very simple, get you pre-approved and you'll be good to go, and you'll have a good team behind you.
So I'll have David's email posted up here at the end. Make sure you guys screenshot that email. Make sure you guys shoot David an email. David can connect you with his whole team at Alpha Funding to get you guys more info on hard money for sure. All right, so I need a rapid answer from every single one of you. This question is thoughts on getting licensed. Let's start off with the man, Michael Gomez. Come on. Is it mandatory or what?
It's not mandatory, but it's great to have your real estate license. There's many perks. One, extra stream of income, right? If you have properties that you're flipping, or if you were going into an appointment and that property is in the property that you would purchase, right? You'd be doing yourself a disservice not having your real estate license, because if you did, you could pitch them, hey, look, you'd make more money if we put this on the open market, right? And you would get more money, you would net more money. So you should do that. Second, right, you have more resources. You have access to the MLSs, right? So any deal that comes out in the market, right, you'll be able to see it. There are still some deals on the MLS that do make sense. I'm of the mindset that, most deals that make sense from a ARV standpoint are truly off market. But I just bought a property in Cranford, 168 Hillcrest Avenue in Cranford. It was on the market. I bought it, and there's a lot of upside to that property. So, and that was on the open market. That was on the MLS. So sometimes you're lucky. And look, again, you might like the retail side of the business, right? You might hate not being, being a wholesaler. You might have a couple of bad transactions as an investor, and you might say, you know what, I got burned too much. This might be a great opportunity for you to jump into the retail side of real estate. And I think that you probably would enjoy it. Imagine making, $200,000-$300,000 as a real estate agent, right? Some investors aren't making that kind of money. Some investors are making 100, 150,000, right? Some do, right? But very little. If we were to take an accounting of how many people that are investors that make over $150,000, I promise you, it's not more than 3%, if that, right? There are very few people that do. So this is a great opportunity for you to jump into a business, which is retail, and not have to have any skin in the game other than, spend some money on, marketing for your client, right? So you might like it. You never know. Come to the dark side of the business.
David, what are your thoughts on getting licensed as someone in the business?
I still have my license. I haven't practiced in probably 7, 8, 10 years. I don't even know what it is. Listen, education is important. I think, you do obviously a lot of what you practice as a realtor or broker, you're not learning in class, but you actually get a lot of good fundamentals on things like easements and, just understanding how, things about financing and fair housing and stuff like that. So look, it depends on what your path is and what you want to do. It doesn't hurt to have it. If you think you want to get involved in wholesaling, I think it's a really good idea, or flipping houses, because you can have that as a resource, like Mike was saying. But, it's not a necessity one way or another.
Love it. Michael, you want to add to anything? Michael J?
Yeah, listen, I have my real estate license, guys. I don't practice real estate. I don't sell real estate, but I have it because A, education, B, it's a tool, right? I have access to MLS and I have a lot of access to other tools, and then C, guys, again, why not get educated? Why not get this knowledge? And then the last final one is, as a buyer, right? When I'm buying my investment properties, there's nothing wrong with getting a nice percentage back for being a realtor too. So you're kind of balancing that out. Again, I don't sell real estate at all, but I utilize it for myself as an investor, and has been very, beneficial.
Love it. Thank you, gentlemen, for the feedback. So, by the way, that's been my biggest regret. I should have got my license 3 years ago. I'm an idiot.
Get it.
Anyway, we're getting licensed now. What happened?
You can do it virtually. This is the time to get it because you can do it virtually. You don't have
I just gotta pass the test, bro. I just gotta pass the test, and it's game over. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. All right. Next question. Here we go. Alex says, newbie just bought his first home. Congrats, Alex. Needs to talk to someone about the second deal in terms of financing options. Definitely reach out to David Hansel if you want to. I don't know what kind of home you want to buy. If you're interested in investment, definitely talk to David Hansel for that. And if you and David aren't able to hit it off with what he offers, he'll connect you with some of the right people. So talk to Dave about that. Here we go. I want to get into some wholesaling. Can I DM you? Denise, definitely hit up Sean. Add him on Facebook. Friend request him if you want to know about wholesaling. What's MLS? Michael Gomez, you want to hit on that real quick?
What's the MLS?
Yeah.
Multiple listing service. That is where real estate agents, right? It's basically a database where they input their listings, and then it gets syndicated out to Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, and a bunch of other sites out there. And it's great to have access to that because you get a real picture of data of what's going on. So all that information that are on the MLSs, that gets pushed out to Zillow and all these other syndication websites. That's where they get the information from IDX, right?
Perfect. Andre asked, what would you guys recommend for first-time investors to learn about financing options? So real quick, guys, financing options, this is very important. David, they ran like one of the largest hard money companies in Jersey. So definitely reach out to them, and he's going to offer you advice in terms of whether it's a good fit or not. Michael J is buying stuff with cash, and I'm sure he has family and friends and all kinds of people that are willing to put money in with him on his projects now. So if you have questions on how to structure cash deals, hit up Michael J and he'll gladly tell you what he's doing. Michael Gomez has helped so many people structure retail transactions when it comes to conventional financing. Should I use FHA? Should I do the 3.5? Should I do the 5%? You guys heard him drop here live on how police officers and firefighters are getting 1.55% rates right now. And if you want to know how to get that, or if you have a firefighter friend or a police officer friend and you're not sharing this information with them, shame on you, okay? Reach out to all three of these guys because they each offer something different, and they cross-reference each other too. So like definitely touch base with all three of them if you have any questions on financing
They've
specifically.
said it best. They've said it, treat financing like an art, right? When you learn how to finance and structure a deal the right way, which is awesome, by the way, that's like you can get really creative with financing. Then you're going to really learn the art of the deal. You can actually make deals or deals that were not deals into deals by structuring it the right way. So.
You should, I mean, our team's amazing and everyone here is involved in some capacity in financing, but you want to reach out to hard money like Alpha or conventional lenders and ask them questions. Don't be bashful. If they shoo you off the phone, I mean, our group wouldn't, but find another person, get educated, find out what requirements they have, start to understand it. It's not that you need to know every piece of it out of the gates, but it starts building a foundation for you. So you can, one of the things, like, I'll just digress for 1 second, is that a lot of times people that are getting they were wholesaling, now they're fix and flip, they'll raise private money from, a small amount that they need to come to the table with like hard money, with Alpha, because, we can give 80, 90% of purchase, 100% of construction. And it's not a lot of dollars you need. We give 100% of the rehab, but you can raise that money from family and friends and ask them to take a piece of, the return. And you can get into a deal with very little to no money down by using, friends and family to come in on the deal with you. You run the project, let them put up the money, and you come up with some split or return to them that makes them feel happy. So there's a lot of good opportunities out there.
We getting creative on this call, as you guys can see. I love it. All right, big question. I love this question, actually. What do you guys think about flipping in 2021? Let's start off with Michael J. Listen, Michael, I know you're a cash flow guy, but give me some feedback on the flipping a little bit.
No worries. Listen, I did some flipping, no doubt about it. It's a great business. The only thing I would recommend is, make sure you know the deal, know the model, do your numbers, know your information. Don't just go out there and flip and then, hope that it's going to go right. Do your research, make sure the flip makes sense. Make sure the numbers make sense, crunch everything, get the facts. And if you want to do that, flipping is a great business. No doubt about it.
I think there's great opportunity, but I've always been a very cautious person in a lot of ways. And I'll say that I think you need to be a little cautious because right now, we've had one of the biggest run-ups in residential real estate that you've ever seen. And there will be a correction to that, right? When the vaccine comes out, people get confident, they come out of their holes and get back to work and the economy starts moving forward. Real estate will remain strong because of the interest rate, but we've had a lack of supply, strong demand, and very cheap rates that has fueled a double-digit increase in many areas where when COVID first hit, we thought it was going to be a 10% decline, and it turned out to be 10% increase. So my feeling is that there may be a correction once the doors of the world open up again and inventory starts to flood out and people want to move again. That run-up that we had, there's a real possibility that some of it will come back close to the level it was before. That's my own opinion. I don't know if it would definitely happen, but it seems it would make sense. And so what happens is you don't want to get caught in a deal where you underwrote it now when the market's going crazy. And then the resale value, like Mike was saying, they're listening. Like I've heard this from so many realtors. They're like, look, I can't look you in the eye and tell you that this house is going to sell for this price. 800 is the best number. They're saying 925, and the realtor says, look, I'll list it for 875. And then there's a bidding war to go to 925. And the realtor's like, there's no documented proof to get to that number, right? But it's happening. So if you're underwriting end values off of where we stand today, I just say be cautious. You need to build in that buffer because there's a real chance that when things open back up, that we're going to see a little slip, and you don't want to get caught in that middle place, especially if you have debt. So those are my
such a good point. Yeah. Gomez, what are your thoughts on flipping coming up?
I made a lot of money flipping. I'm never going to stop. Like I said, I've done over 52 flips since 2010. Prior to that, I was doing 2-family homes. I stopped. I don't like to do, look, it's not for everybody. I don't like buying holds, so I love buying single family homes and flipping. And right now, because the multifamily, the 2-family market is on fire. If you can find one that's cheap, if you can find a distressed seller, get in it, because multifamily properties, you can't keep them on the market long enough. I bought a property in Linden 3 years ago, multifamily, all brick, for $109,000. I just sold it for $379,000 this month. So, that's where we're at in terms of the multifamily. So, look, I think that I wouldn't get into a big project for sure. I wouldn't jump into new construction right now. I wouldn't jump into a huge add level. But anything you can buy that might just require a $30,000 to $40,000 rehab, and for those who are new to the business, a $30,000 to $40,000 rehab is not a big project, at least not in northern New Jersey, right? If you can get into a small project that you can get in and out, and when I say in and out, within 3 to 4 months, do so. Right? The markets won't change drastically in 3 to 4 months, but like Dave said, make sure that you account for 2 to 3% margin, on the downside. And if you're still safe, go get into it. But if your margins are thin and you're thinking about jumping in, don't do it. I know I've seen a lot of people in 2007 when they thought the market was just going to keep on going up, and they all got burned, right? It takes one bad deal for you to say, I never want to do it again. One bad deal.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to say no. Guys, a lot of you guys are
chase deals. That's another thing a lot of people do. They're trying to chase the deal. They're a newbie, or they only did one and they want to get in so bad, right? Don't make a deal of something that's not really a deal, right? Don't try to chase something that's not there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I only got time for a few more questions. A lot of you guys are asking for their contact info. It's coming up in like literally 2 minutes. All right, we're gonna post our contact info. You guys are gonna have their personal cell phones, and you better be sending selfies. How much you're grateful for them. Don't send the selfies. All right, everyone's here is married. All right, let me stop. Let me stop if I get in trouble. Michael, people are asking about the police and fire with the interest rates and the EMS. First of all, guys, call Michael. He can definitely connect you, get you guys set up for that. Do they do that in Philly as well? Is that mainly in Jersey?
I only know about the program in New Jersey. I do not know anything outside of New Jersey. So in New Jersey, it's called the Police and Firemen Retirement System Mortgage Program. Only a few lenders actually are equipped to handle that sort of program. I know Wells Fargo does. They actually did the last 2 loans for me, in which I was representing a fireman and a police officer. So I know they're pretty good at that. So that's, they're a strong lender. And just keep in mind, those rates adjust every 6 months. So it's going to adjust now in February. What that means is the new rate's going to come out. So it's not going to stay at 1.55 forever. It might go up a quarter. It might come down. I don't know. Or it might stay at the same level. But I know that it's always going to be less than the current, retail rates that we're seeing, which is somewhere between 2.5 to 2.75 right now for an average.
Cool. Perfect. Just connect with Michael, guys. He can set you up with that. Let's see. Next question here.
I'm low tech. Where do you type in to chat back on the comments? Alex, thanks for your vote of confidence there.
You're on the StreamYard. These guys are on from Facebook, so you'd have to log on to Facebook to be able to. Yes. Sorry about that. I'm not that cool yet. When you list a house on the MLS, it gives you an option to post your listing on. When you list a house on the MLS, does it give you an option to post your listing on Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com? Michael?
Yes, it gives you an option to post on Zillow and Realtor.com. Just remember that Trulia is owned by Zillow. So you're allowed to actually shut off the syndication, but why would you do that, right? By allowing it to syndicate to both those sites, you're going to get a tremendous amount of exposure. You're going to drive more traffic to that listing, and you might potentially capture a buyer lead.
Love it. All right. Michael J., you are taking massive action. I see your advertisement everywhere. Love to network with you and work with you for free. You're going to get his number. Better hit him up, baby. Hit him up. Can you use hard money for buy and holds, multifamily? David?
Yeah. If there's a value add component, then it's a good fit, right? So if you're buying a distressed 2-family or even, a large apartment building, we've used our own internal bridge capital and paid, the same rates that we would charge to you as a third party based on the fact that we're going to increase the value. And then once it's stabilized, we can either refinance, pay off the lender and get our money back, or sell the asset down the road. So it's a very, very important tool to have in your tool belt for financing. Whether you're doing single, multi, or multifamily, bridge capital is so critical if you're doing value add, because it allows you to keep more dollars in your pocket and be able to move and act quickly.
Someone said they borrowed a few million from Alpha in 2020. Great group, highly recommend. What LTVs are you seeing these days for non-cash out? Guys, I'm going to do 2 more questions here, and then we're going to wrap this up. What LTVs are you seeing these days for non-cash out refinances on multifam? Who wants to hit that?
They got to ask your mortgage partner, but I think it's 85 for non-cash out written term. And don't quote me on it. It's either 80 or 85, and that's based on Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae.
And if you're doing an LLC, then it's 20. It's 25% you're putting down, or 75 if you want to open it up in the LLC. I do a lot of mine in the LLCs.
And on the larger multifamily, you're typically going to be held back at 80%. So that'd be the max leverage. In some areas, it's 75.
Perfect. Best way to evaluate and determine how much rehab is necessary for a property. How do you guys value rehabs? Estimate your rehabs. We'll start with Michael J.
Yeah, essentially, listen, you have to, be a student of the costs, right? Don't be afraid to go into Home Depot. Don't be afraid to make a list. I mean, you got to know how much material costs, how much flooring costs, how much, paint costs. You have to know your costs. Then you can write them all down. And then, when you go into these rehabs, you go ahead and figure out square footage. Once you start figuring out square footage, it's not too hard to really figure out what the material cost is. And then you can factor in a labor cost. And then, it gives you a ballpark. But you got to be a student of knowledge. You got to be a student of these prices, because that will help you really get as accurate as you can when it comes to refis. When it comes to rehabs.
Yeah.
David, Michael, you guys want David, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of stuff. So if you're hiring a contractor, you're gonna, right now it's a scary time because these contractors are backed up and prices on materials are so high. So I would say tap on your network and guys like that are on here, or other folks that are doing stuff, have them take a second look. The other thing is, like, on our lending company from Alpha, that's really, we're a good outlet for that too, to really understand, because we're seeing hundreds a month of different rehab budgets and understand what's realistic, what's not. But I would find, like with anything else, you want to ask around to some other people, whether it's another rehabber, your hard money lender, some contractors. So it's not one place. If you're experienced, obviously you kind of know your stuff, but you're obviously asking to try to figure out how to vet that. So lean on people and run it by as many people as you can.
Michael, anything to add? A combination of everything that everybody said. Look, if you're going to be in this flip, if you're going to flip and you're going to take this serious in the beginning, you obviously should have 2 or 3 contractors that you can rely on that's going to give you estimates rather. But at some point, you need to learn the prices of certain things, right? You need to learn that the kitchen's going to cost you X amount, right? You need to learn what hardwood floors are going to cost you based on square footage. You need to learn what sheetrock is going to cost you, what paint, spackling, all of that. So you have to be an astute investor. You have to be a student of the game, right? At some point, you should not be relying on them. I've been fortunate enough. My father's a contractor for 30 plus years, and I've gained a lot of knowledge just by watching him price out a lot of projects. But you should get to the point, right, where you're walking through a project, a potential project, and you can say, what's going to cost me $50,000, between $50,000 and $55,000 to do this project. That's where you need to be at in order to become successful, right? That's what Mark is doing. Mike, I'm sure Mike walks into a project and he knows how much it's going to cost him, right? And you got to get to that level. In the meantime, lean on other rehabbers, lean on other contractors, right? And learn as much. Ask questions. All right, why are you quoting me $20,000? Well, because this, that, and the other. All right, how much are you charging me per square foot? and get several people to come in. Like, don't just get a general contractor. Bring in the floor guy, bring in the tile guy, bring in a kitchen cabinet guy, right? Bring in a siding company, a window company, a roofer, so you can understand the prices itemized individually, so you get a more or a grasp of knowledge when it comes to certain things. So you can make your own judgment, and you can look. The name of the game is to act quick in the flipping business. So when you can evaluate damages of the property or the construction cost very quickly, right? A good person could do that within 30 minutes to an hour, literally, just based on a walkthrough, right? You're going to make much more sound decisions.
Love it. All right. So to wrap this up, guys, Ron is saying Mike and Signature are the best. All right. Ron's also saying Dave and Alpha are the best. And I'm just going to say it myself, boys. Michael J, he's the best too. I just got nothing but the best surrounded by me. I'm so grateful.
Thanks, Ron.
It was a pleasure.
Yo, Sean, send me your contact info, bro. A few people are asking for it as well. All right, guys, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. We are ending this live on such a beautiful note. We're about to hand out the contact information, the personal numbers, the emails, all the above. Michael J, any final words from my brothers and sisters? By the way, Michael J's contact info is posted down below. Michael, any final thoughts, man?
Yeah, listen, thank you again for this. It was certainly a pleasure being on here. For everybody out there, my information's on the bottom. Reach out to me. I'll definitely get back to every single subject person. I love working with people, helping people, and I would love to help you start your real estate, investing career. And even if you're an investor and you want some help with some properties, let me know. Again, I'm here to help and really just share my knowledge. No cost, nothing like that. I just enjoy doing it. So thanks again for giving me this opportunity, everybody.
Thank you, Michael. And I'll have Michael's info. So if you guys don't capture it, but make sure you screenshot that now. You can message me on Facebook and I will send that to you. Up next, David Hansel. David, info's down below. Final thoughts, David.
Thank you again, obviously, for putting this together, and for Nick and all the stuff that you guys do. I think that, I always like to tell people, because I think it can be intimidating coming in and listening and trying to find your path. And everybody started somewhere, and try to pull one or two things from everything that you do and be adventurous. Get out there, talk to people, don't be bashful. Seek what you want to, and try to pick a niche, and stick to it for a while. I make a joke because I always struggle with my keeping in shape and keeping my weight, because I love to eat and like, don't go on a diet only to go into the refrigerator the next day or freezer and grab an ice cream or grab some candy. You got to be committed. So I can't speak to you that I've done a good job being committed on eating well, but I've been committed and a good job to doing, to growing in my business. So be committed, work hard every day, learn something, network with somebody every day, and good things will happen for you.
By the way, David, I just completed a 32-day liquid fast, so no food for 32 days. I could set you up, brother. I don't want to brag, but we did our Lucerne cap. We had our holiday dinner and went for steak at Char and Red Bank, and we had a bone-in ribeye and a porterhouse. We had some really nice wine and ate a dessert. My wife's probably listening in and mad that I ate so much food, but I was a little sluggish in the beginning. That's why. But I'm proud of you for doing that. Maybe one of these days you'll inspire me and I'll follow you. Well, David, we appreciate you guys. His info's down below. Take advantage of this. All right. Literally, man has all sorts of amazing connections. They all three do. Take advantage of this. Connect. Introduce yourself. Be of value. All right. And last but not least, my man, near and dear to my heart, appreciate you, Michael Gomez. Info's down below, ladies and gentlemen. Final thoughts, Michael.
First and foremost, always a pleasure. Thank you. It's been a pleasure being on the same stage as David and Michael and Sean. And, thank you, Elijah, as always. And Nick Tang, I know he's behind the scenes listening. I know he's watching. Nick, thank you so much for giving us this platform. Final thoughts, right? If you're looking to become a flipper, if you're looking to invest in any way, pair up with somebody who's got a lot of knowledge, right? seek a mentor, barter your time, for whatever it is that they want you to do. Do a trade-off, learn as much as you can, and become an astute of the game. And before you jump into your first investment, think of maybe doing a joint venture with a guy like Michael, right, where you can learn so much from him. Absorb as much information as you can. And if you're looking to become a real estate agent, please, look up exploresignature.com. That's our career page. We have two very fantastic leaders, Jonathan Steingraber, very, very good, great story, motivational. Michelle Pye's huge success story, great stories from both of them, and I think that you'll like what we have to offer you guys. And look, happy holidays to everybody. Be safe out there. Make sure your family's safe, and just be nice and be kind and be humble.
Beautiful words. Thank you so much, Michael. By the way, info's down below. Screenshot. Take advantage of that. Exploresignature.com. All right, guys. Sean Radiant, son, I'm Radiant, man. I'm gonna let you wrap this up, baby. Give us the final energy vibes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've had a blast tonight, if you've had fun, if you've learned some information, if this has been of value to you, please post it down in the comment section. Just let me know that you're grateful or thankful or whatever. And make sure you like and share this with your family and friends. Just hit the like button, share button. It's really easy. It's 2 clicks with the right index finger, baby. Boop, 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 boop. We love you guys. Radiant Sean, end this off for us. Send us the good vibe.
Elijah, Nick, I know he's behind the scenes, but Mike, David, thank you so much. This right here, I think should show everybody what it takes to actually make it in the business, because what is it, Thursday night, we're 2 hours in, and we're just out here vibing, expressing what we like to do and sharing it openly, right? And for those that are listening, I hope that you guys at some point get to be in their place and share your story, and have that mindset. For me, I wake up every day with that whatever it takes mentality. And just like these guys, they want to be the king of their tribe, right? So they get up every day ready to hunt and bring back that meat to the family, to the point where their family will be like, how are you doing this? And I think that's what it's all about, is where you get enough results to the point where your family, friends are like, hey, can I learn? Show me, and I think you guys are really expressing yourself well, sharing your stories and what you guys ultimately do. And can't thank you enough. And for those that are interested in asking me about wholesaling, I just started 3 years ago personally. My contact's below, and really my true aspiration is to become the best wholesaler in Philadelphia. And it's not like a shot against anybody else. And when I say best, it's just to provide a really good experience for all my clientele, whether they're sellers, my buyers, title agents, real estate agents. I think that's what entitles being the best, is just providing a good and awesome service where, they think of you, they come back and give you referrals as much as, Mike Gomez was saying, referral game is really big. And that's what entitles being the best. Bring your A game, waking up every day with that mentality, So guys, thank you so much. I know it's late, so let's wrap it up. I hope you guys have a blessed night. And yeah, any last words?
This was another event brought to you guys by New Jersey Real Estate Investor Association. We bring you the best quality, the best people, and last but not least, the best energy you can find in all of New Jersey. Mark my words, coming from yours truly. We love you. We hope you have a great night. We will see you guys after Christmas. Be ready for our next event. Be ready for the next information. Take advantage of these 3 gentlemen that are on this call. Connect with them. Build those relationships now and get ready for what's to come. We're excited. Can't wait to grow from you. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Farewell. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Love you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Farewell.
Peace.